Hey, I'm Sarah.
And I'm David. Let's talk about BB22 All-Stars.
But first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe and give this video a thumbs up.
And if you want to support us on Patreon, there is a link in the description.
Oh, I forgot to turn my air conditioner off, David. How loud is it? Is it really bad, you guys?
I don't think it's that bad.
Well, tell them what we're going to recap tonight.
Okay, yes. So here we are. This is our first Wednesday recap that we are adding to our content lineup, which is fun. So we're just recapping tonight's episode, which truly we kind of spoiled most of it on Monday. But here we're going to recap it and give you some live feed updates. And Sarah's back, no air conditioning now. Look at that.
It's going to be a little better audio. You guys are going to appreciate it. Trust me.
Production value.
Yay!
Yes.
We are adding a Wednesday episode because you know what? There's so much to talk about, and it's an all-star season. No matter what that means, because what does it really mean?
Yeah.
All-star. What does it really mean? But here we are.
Yeah, we're going to have to update the definition maybe.
In a pandemic, you know, there's very little that we're doing. So let's just talk about Big Brother.
Yes, right. Well, I love the way this episode starts because we've got Janelle saying, like, I'm not going to let these people see me sweat. Like, that's not how I play this game.
Give them the satisfaction to see me upset. And I'm like, this is why we love you. You're so unbothered.
She is the queen of being unbothered. It's so great. I love her. But then we also get like Nicole Franzel or just Nicole now. She's in the diary room praising the BB gods. This is karma. She's so mean to me. And I'm just like, I need the receipts of when Janelle has been. I need that.
Me the tapes.
Julie, please. Do we have the receipts?
We watch a lot of live feeds. It's taken over my life.
Yeah.
I've yet to see it. So,
but really, like, I was expecting, and a lot of people were expecting more. Nicole versus Janelle. We don't get a whole lot in this episode because I think it's just not panning out the way that obviously producers would love it to. They're trying to give us a little taste in the beginning, but that's kind of the last that we see from Nicole Franzel. She's not really a big player in this episode.
Right. The Nicole Franzel has been Nicole. Her name is just Nicole. Nicole is like prepping herself every day when she wakes up. She's like, oh my God, Janelle's going to come at me. And I think the producers were also like, here we go. Let's go. But no, it's not happening.
Right. It's just Janelle's not doing that. She's not going to play that game. But yeah, Janelle and Kaysar are like not surprised that they're on the block. They're just going to focus on Veto. They're rolling with the punches. Like, you know, they're not going to like crawl under the covers and cry and anything like that. But Davon is going upstairs to talk to Tyler because she's just gonna, you know, make sure this relationship is good. Like, we've been working together, but we haven't been working together that long. So I'm just already going to ask who the renom might be if somebody comes off, because Janelle wins vetoes. Yeah.
She does. Tyler said in that conversation, I'm the king of vetoes, though, because she was like, Janelle's the queen of vetoes, and Tyler was like, I'm the king of vetoes. So they were going head to head, and it's like, okay. But you know, who's the renom going to be? It's too early. Like, I don't know. Right. So Day's just looking out for herself, though, understandably.
Yeah.
Since she didn't get that +1 that she was asking for.
Oh, yeah. She does not have that safety, so she's a bit nervous.
Yeah.
We see Janelle and Bailey in the have-not room, and they're just kind of talking veto plans. We know these two ladies are close, and, you know, Janelle is just doing the work of, like, planting some seeds of, like, I'm on your side, and I need you to realize that you're not at the top of that alliance, that like maybe you are kind of in with those people more than I am, but you're on a list. Like, once they tick me and Kaysar off, you may be next. So it's in your best interest to keep me in the house. Can I pick you for veto? They're just kind of talking plans there.
That's very true. There's a few people who should have realized that a couple weeks ago. Too little, too late.
Yes.
Is this when we get the Dani?
Yes. Fantastic
segment.
edit here. Yes.
This really is. Look, you can have your personal feelings. I know a lot of people aren't happy with the things that Dani says. She, does have a bit of a mean girl in her, and she has been gunning for Janelle. So I know a lot of the Janelle fans are mad at Dani, but the reality is Dani's game is on point. She is incredible. We need a name for that. I need a name for exactly what the strategy is, David. This is her strategy. So she's like, giggle, oh my God, we're best friends. Oh my God, who's terrifying is Janelle is like she is like the baby, oh my God, we gotta get her. We're best friends. Like whatever that strategy is called,
it's almost
nailed
like
it.
Not to like make a Survivor comparison, but it's a bit Parvati-esque, right? Like just like giggle, and then like I'm coming after people still. Like her head is just in the game, but she has this way of like softening it with like throwing her arm in yours, linking arms with you in the backyard, and then like dropping some evil diabolical plan, or it's like very, very effective. And she really has been playing the game all along, but she hasn't necessarily been in the edit as much. Like she's been there in the live feeds, and we know it because we watch the feeds. Now I'm glad that like they're finally acknowledging they crammed a lot of footage into this from like a lot of different times throughout the game so far. It wasn't all happening in the last week. Like I'm glad that she kind of got this spotlight of she's really being strategic and surrounding herself with people who will kind of do her bidding.
Right. Yeah. I was so surprised that Dani didn't make like the first 3 episodes, because she walked into that house and the first thing she did was giggle, you're my best friend. Plant a seed about Janelle. The reason Janelle is the house target is because of Dani. She was the first one to say it, and she went hard. She said it to everyone. She said it to Cody, who was HOH. She made that very, very clear. So great work. Recently on the feeds, I think it was just like maybe Saturday, the guys were talking and they were like, Dani is in the best position in the entire house. There's nobody who would put Dani up on the block. And that might change eventually, but that's very, very true right now.
Yeah. And I feel like she hasn't necessarily done it by making too many final 2 deals or anything like that. It's not like she went around saying like, you're my final 2, you're my final 2. Like that's not something that's going to come back and bite her necessarily, like the way that Tyler did, but she's just kind of.
She does have 1,000 alliances, just like Cody does.
Yeah.
She is aligned with a lot of people, but she has shown her loyalties to Nicole and Cody straight up. Those are her 2 closest, and she's pretty serious about that and honest, gives them all of the information.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, but
I mean,
I think like I think we're going to start to see Dani in the edits a lot more moving forward, because they've established her as this like power player who is there lurking underneath the surface, even if she's not winning the comps and like directly making decisions. Like she's definitely there. So I was glad to see her get this segment. Then we get Janelle in the bathroom with Ian. She's putting on her vampire facial. And then of course, like Ian's breaking down like the chemistry of it, or like what it's going to, and she's like, I got to take this thing off.
You're putting that on your face? He's like concerned. And it's no joke. Like, first off, I'm obsessed with Janelle's skincare and makeup routines. I'm like, please teach me your ways, please. But I too have like dabbled in these acidic things that we're supposed to put on our face, but I have gotten like little burns and stuff from them. Like, it's no joke. I was shocked that she was just like all over. Like, it is like, it's crazy what she's doing to her face. It looks really good.
These people who like are enthusiastic about putting something on your face that's called a vampire facial.
Oh, right. Like, she's like, it's acid. It's ripping my face off. It's going to look so fresh underneath. It's like, oh God.
What? Yeah. You're putting on a facial that's going to suck the blood out of your face? Like what? And she's like, yeah, put it on.
Things we do for beauty. It's awful.
And I'm sure that sales of vampire facials are spiking right now, because whenever Janelle puts something on her face, people are like, wait, what is that? Google?
Yeah. I have Googled anytime she's like, La Mer, I'm like, La Mer, okay. I'm like, well, I have a running list of every brand I've heard her mention. I'm like, oh, yep, okay. Got this one, okay.
Yes, so good.
I was really
So
hoping
then
she'd do a tutorial before she leaves, but I don't know if it's
yeah,
gonna
for
happen.
sure, she should. Then we do the veto player pick, right?
Yes.
And Tyler, we spoiled this in our last video, but Tyler picked
Yeah.
Cody, Kaysar picked Bailey, Janelle picked Memphis. I was
Really
like
not good.
half hoping that Janelle would get house guest choice and pick Nicole just to like mess with
Right.
her.
Oh,
Because
I would've
Nicole
loved it.
would have been in the diary room spiraling like, what does this mean? She's being mean to me.
She's so mean. She picked me to play Veto.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been amazing. But no, these were like is pretty much bad. I mean, like who would play for Janelle and Kaysar? No one.
No,
but
no one.
But Memphis and Cody, no,
I know.
not a good choice.
I mean, the Bailey thing is a little bit of a bright spot for Janelle because she thinks like maybe, you know, they had shown us the combo earlier in the episode. Maybe Bailey would use it on Janelle. They're trying to make us believe that. And that kind of leads to this conversation between Dani and Bailey in the storage room where Dani's kind of trying to like reel Bailey in a way. Not that she thinks she's going to go rogue necessarily, but she's trying to prevent that, right? Like,
yeah, she is worried about Bailey. Bailey's super close with Janelle. Even though, like, let's be honest, like Bailey and Janelle have become friends and Bailey spends a lot of time with her, but Bailey runs everything back.
Yep.
So they shouldn't be worried about Bailey, but they are. So Dani's just wants to make sure like Bailey's not going to use this veto to save Janelle. Like that would be the worst thing in Dani's book. So she's all up in Bailey's grill of like, what would you do with that veto? Are you going to win? Are you going to win? Are you going to win? Bailey's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Well, and Bailey like sees what Dani is doing here.
Yes.
Like she's like, Dani's trying to control me and like, I'll do whatever I want with that veto. Thank you very much. Like,
thank goodness we heard that in the DR.
Yeah, she's not going to say that. I think like Bailey in her original season, BB20, might have said that to Dani's face because she's just not someone who likes to be backed into a corner, you know.
Right.
But this is a new version of Bailey where she's just going to say that in the DR. You know, she's going to like play nice to the face and be like, of course, no, like we're good. I'm on your side. And then she's I will not be bossed around, Dani.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go to the veto.
Yes.
Now it is set up sort of brackets tournament style. So two people are going to go against each other. Two people. The winner is going to move on.
But it's kind of a weird setup because in a normal tournament, like you would have 4 pairs that would narrow down to 2 pairs that would narrow down to the winner, right? But we've only got 3 pairs here. So the way that works is Tyler and Kaysar are the first pair. So the winner of that goes automatically to the final round, whereas the next 2 pairs compete. And then the winners of those have to compete. And then that person goes to the final round. So when you get to the final round, one person is playing for the second time and one person is playing for the third time. So I think that it's a bit unfair. Life isn't fair. BB isn't fair, but it's kind of a weird format for this.
Guess what's not fair? Competition reality shows.
Yeah, right.
It's not ever going to be fair. It is weird, but it was also random draw. So they were like, okay, Kaysar versus Tyler. So the fact that it was random, I guess you can get away with being like, these random people are going to just fly right through to the last round. And that's these random people are going to have to play again. So is what it is. I have to be honest. I watched the first Kaysar versus Tyler, and then my internet went kapooey, and I missed the entire veto competition.
You
so
missed
this is where
the best part of the
David
veto
takes over.
Sarah. Yes, because Kaysar messes up. You saw this part, but he doesn't have the wrappers matching the right color. He has the cake and the frosting set, but just like completely missed that the base has to match as well.
Come on.
So that was a bit of a JV move there. But so Tyler wins that one. Tyler is advancing directly to the final round. Now we get Cody versus Bailey. Kind of not that exciting. Bailey struggling just to get the things in the right, she's not wrapping her head around it in the same way that Cody is. So Cody beats Bailey. Then we get Memphis and Janelle.
Wait, what am I missing? Why was this hard? What are we not wrapping our head around?
Well, you can't put, the rules are you can't put anything on the ground, so you just have to move the cupcake pieces around. Yeah.
So you can't like necessarily picture like, oh, if I put this one on top,
I have to move this here so that I can move this over here and then this back here. You know, it's not super straightforward. You kind of have to stack things in a way that looks messed up, but it's gonna all, you know, come together in the end. But yeah, Bailey just was like not figuring out.
I guess you do have to have a bit of a puzzle mind to do it. It just seems super easy to me, but okay, moving on.
Yeah. Sarah would kill this veto comp, y'all.
I would have crushed it.
Yes. So Cody beats Bailey. Then we see Memphis versus Janelle. And this was like the most interesting part because Memphis says in the diary room that he's going to try to win this, which I'm like, whoa, did he get like a bonus paycheck for saying that? Did production, were they like, we'll kick you an extra few $100 if you just say that you're going to try? Because like in my mind, there's no way Memphis is making any kind of move. He doesn't want to rock the boat.
This is how little he cares about this show. Is the producers are like, can you just like tell us that you're gunning for this? He's like, absolutely, whatever you tell me what to say. Don't let I don't want to think
little
about
lady.
It.
Yeah.
Don't make me think about something. Just tell me what you want me to say.
Right. But then he's going against Janelle. It really was kind of a disappointing showing from Janelle because we expect her to be this comp beast based on her performance in the first All-Stars. But Memphis has it almost done to the point where everybody sitting on the bench sees that he has it almost done. And they are like on the verge of shouting, like, just move that one piece over there and ring the bell and you're done. But he is like this close to finishing, and then it's just chaos. He's like, oh wait, this needs to go here. And he's like trying to throw the competition, and everybody knows it. Like we get all these DRs of like, well, Memphis is clearly, what is he doing trying to throw this competition? What? And then because they're all like, he's against Janelle, what is he doing? But then Janelle is taking so long that he's like, well, God, I guess I just have to win it.
Janelle, what happened? Why?
Sarah, you've got to go back and watch this.
Oh, of course I will.
As they struggle with.
I will watch it at the West Coast time tonight. But like, how you're going against someone who's throwing it? Like, how is it this hard?
Oh, I know. It was so disappointing.
I love the way that Memphis throws things. He like goes full force, like he's gonna win it, and then he's just like, oh, now I got to do something, like sitting with the yoga ball.
Yeah.
Like people are watching. Yeah. Like you got to mess up from the beginning. You got to be confused from the get-go.
Yes. Yeah.
Again, he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah. But then he is out in the next round because Cody beats him. And then because I think Cody had a little bit of a leg up in this final round because he had done it twice now. Tyler had only done it once. And so Cody ends up winning the veto. Tyler's frustrated. You know, he called himself the veto king before this thing, but now Cody is the winner of this cupcake veto. So Kaysar and Janelle are also immediately frustrated because this is like bad news for them, you know, but it was bad news for them. Basically round one, they all lost. Like anybody who could have potentially saved Janelle or Kaysar lost in the first round. Kaysar, Bailey, Janelle right up the bat. So it just was not a good veto comp for them.
No, for sure. Well, okay, so we come back and that's the topic of conversation. Memphis is horrible at throwing comps.
Yeah.
Dani is like worried. I mean, Dani is legitimately worried about Memphis because his HOH reign, he showed that he was not willing to backdoor Janelle or Kaysar. He was not willing to work with his alliance. So Dani is already on alert with him. And now he looked like he was throwing it to Janelle. That's super dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's just, you know, doing that Dani thing of planting some seeds with the Nicole and with Christmas in the storage room. Not that she needs to plant seeds with them like they're her alliance, but it's just a little bit of like, okay, Memphis is not as maybe in with us as we thought. Like, it's no big deal. Like, she's very insistent. Like, Janelle is going to go this week. It's not a big deal, but we got to keep our eye on Memphis because this was way too obvious that he was trying to potentially throw it to the woman that we're trying to get out this week. Like, what's that about?
Yes. Okay, now, thank goodness my internet came back because I got to see a Janelle and Kaysar segment.
This was one of my favorite conversations that they had all week when she was like, I shouldn't have come. And he's like, what are you talking about?
No.
And she's like, well, you would have had a chance. And he's like, this has been great. Like, I would not give this back for anything, for a better shot at winning. Like, oh, I just love their relationship.
I love it so much. Oh, there've been so many wonderful moments. We say this every video. There's so many wonderful moments like this on the feeds. If you didn't see the whole conversation, I recommend you go on Twitter and you find it, because it's so great. Because he just really does realize like what she's saying. He's like, no way. And he was like, I can't believe like 15 years went by and like we haven't seen each other and now we're here together. This is so special. And like, I love it. And honestly, I needed more of it instead of this all-star baby segment that is about to come up. Like, just give me more Janelle and Kaysar.
I know.
Stop it.
I know. But it's just so, I'm not sure if this was in the episode or if it was just on the feeds, but you know, just her saying like, it has been so nice to spend time with you, and him saying like, I would love to like see you more moving forward. Like, sorry that I didn't maintain the friendship, but like, let's change that. And like, you know, it's tough. Like, I hope they do remain friends, but it is tough when you're outside of the house. But like, just what a treat for us to see this reunion 15 years in the making. So
I know. More of it. I mean, it's a treat for them. It's a treat for us. Win-win all around.
Yeah. Now we get a little bit more of Memphis suspicion. Enzo goes up to the HOH. He's talking to Tyler and Cody. And I think, you know, this is the producers and editors doing their job, trying to make it feel like, is there going to be a backdoor? Is Cody going to use the veto? Because Cody says, they make sure to put this in the edit. He's like, well, we could take somebody down, like if we don't trust Memphis.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, that was like immediately shot down. Not going to happen. But thank you for putting it in the episode. Like it might actually be an option.
Then we get Sarah's favorite segment. Why don't you walk us through this, Sarah?
Oh my God. Let me tell you, this is what my notes are. I started out with the heading of Christmas's punishment, and then nothing. I wrote down nothing else. I was like cringing watching. I was embarrassed for the people who thought this was a good idea. I was embarrassed that they were spending a good 7 minutes or whatever it was.
A long segment.
It felt really, really long. Look, she's up to 13 stars now. I think they stopped at like 7 or 9 or something. But I do love something that interrupts the middle of the night. I love that. So I'm sure that they were like, what else interrupts you in the middle of the night? Oh, a baby does. And they came up with this. So I mean, I get it. Maybe on paper it was interesting, but no, it's weird. And she's just like feeding stuffed, putting diapers on, and they brought Enzo into the DR with her. Like,
like he's the dad. Like, what?
Like this was entertainment. No, sorry, CBS. Sorry, that's a hard pass on.
But I do. Segment. I mean, the thing I like about it is, like you said, like that thing that wakes you up in the middle of the night. I enjoy a punishment that kind of wreaks havoc on the whole house, not just a single person. You know, like slop is very targeted to individual players, but these I like a big sort of house-wide punishment. People are, you know, for the most part, like just kind of laughing at Christmas and laughing at her misfortune, but they're also dealing with the cries and, you know, all that stuff.
Like they all get it. Like it's a punishment. If they get it, they have to go through it. They're understanding about it. I really did. I honestly did love it when she like had her arms full of them and she had to go in each room in the middle of the night and go, aren't my babies cute? Aren't my babies cute? Because that's just like ridiculous. Are my babies cute in the middle of the night? You're like, okay, cool. That one actually did make me laugh. That was funny.
Yeah. So after that incredibly long segment, we see a bit of what I think makes Janelle such a compelling player in this game. It's great to see her actually talking strategy, trying to make a deal. And she's up there, you know, at the end of the Janelle Kaysar segment, earlier in the episode, Kaysar was like, we got to figure out a way for us to both stay in the house. I don't know why they put that in the show, because it didn't happen. Like they didn't show anything of Kaysar trying to orchestrate a backdoor at all. Like he did try, but why didn't they put it in the episode if they're going to bring it up in the episode, you know? Right.
They like let us, I mean, it's exciting to be like, well, we should figure out a way for both of us to stay. And then the, you know, audience is like, yeah, do that. But his pitch to Tyler was took 2 seconds. So I think Janelle's was more compelling, and they were like, okay, editors were like, we'll cut this one in instead. How about this one? So we do see Janelle. Like, I mean, she's so good, and we've watched her all week campaigning. Like, first, right now, she's talking in the episode to Cody about like, look, if you want to use this veto, you know, like I'll be aligned with, I forget exactly what her deal was, but like I'll be aligned with you.
I'll vote with you for the next.
I'll vote with you.
Like it's a deal, you know. Like I feel like so much of this season and other recent seasons, like when it comes to people campaigning, it just kind of comes down to like, are you in my alliance or not? But Janelle's like, I know we're not working together, but here's an offer. Like, yeah, I will work with you for 2 weeks, and you know, maybe it can grow into something more. But like, it kind of shows it's a bit more of an old school way of playing Big Brother, and I love to see it. And I love her pitch also, very logical of, I am a target and so are you. So it's in your best interest to keep me in the house, because everyone's still going to put me up next week if I'm still in the house. Yeah.
I'm just, and I haven't been able to win any comps. Yes. Like, I'm not winning right now. Like, keep me. It's great. I love that she, like you said, she comes with a deal. Like, let's make a deal, but it's not like, let's be a final two. Let's be in an alliance for like, it's more realistic to be like, hey, okay, you use the veto on me and I vote with you these weeks, or I don't put you up if I'm HOH for 2 weeks, like whatever the deal is. Right.
And it's not like, I'll do whatever you want if you don't put, it's like a very concrete, like, here are the terms, like sign here, you know, kind of thing.
It's like she's a realtor. It's like, here's
the contract.
Let's make this happen. And, yeah. So unfortunately, Cody's not gonna go for it in the episode, but we have seen her do this all week long about like trying to get the votes. She's made deals with Tyler. She's trying to make deals. So it really is fun to watch her work.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
all right, veto ceremony.
Like you say, Cody was not gonna bite on this. He doesn't need to make any waves with the veto this week. Everybody is focused on Janelle and Kaysar. It would make sense for him to take one of them off the block, especially without Tyler's blessing explicitly. So he does not use the veto, and then we get some great DRs. Like, normally the DRs are kind of throwaway to me after like nominations stay the same, because like, what really is there to say? But we get one from Dani saying like, Janelle's got to go because it's time for a new coronation. She's the queen of BB. And I'm like, you think Janelle's losing her crown if she goes out this week?
There will be no new coronation.
Yes.
And no.
She will stay the queen of Big Brother. Yeah. Don't you worry. Yeah. And then I love, like, we're going to get into some live feed updates after this and Janelle's gameplay this week and things like that. But I love this vibe from her at the end of the episode. She pulls out the designer sunglasses. She says, I do not play a scared game. I have played with some cutthroat. And it's time to show these wannabe all-stars how to play. I was like, whoa, they're all like, their skin is burning right now. Like, okay, Janelle throwing. She pulled out a flamethrower and was like roasting the whole house.
Yes. Which is kind of what she's been doing all week. She's like, these people, I have to pitch to these people and work with these people.
Right. I have to campaign to these idiots.
Oh, yeah. Like when she gets in a room with someone decent, like someone who knows the game, like Tyler or something, she's like, oh my God, what is with this cast? It's so good. It's so
solid. Well, let's get into some spoilers, because we got some interesting things going down this week.
I mean, okay, so we're going to talk about live feeds. They're not, they're half spoilers.
Yeah, it's like spoilers, but it is like stuff that you might see in tomorrow's episode.
Yes. So if this is where you part, go right ahead. Thank you for joining us. But stick with us. No, we don't need to do this.
Okay, great. Phew. Okay.
We're touch and go on that song, so we'll just skip that for today.
Okay, good.
So yeah, like we did see a sweet moment when Kaysar was like, what do I need to do when you leave? And she's like, oh, are you staying? And Kaysar's like, I think so.
I think I've got the votes. She's
And
like, oh, am I
Janelle's
the target? Am I going?
she's like, I will. She's like, I'm still gonna campaign. And he's like, yeah, 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 yeah. And she has been. They
Yeah.
both are doing their own individual thing. But oh, the chat's not too happy about us depriving them of the song.
Guys,
Yeah, you got it
really
covered
for your own good.
You guys sang it. They sang it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Max. Max sang it for us.
Max. Yes,
Thank
yes.
you.
But I think I don't want to get into the David stuff too soon, but we have to talk about
God.
stuff.
Yeah.
But
talk about a flamethrower. He took it to his own game.
Truly. But Janelle, I think like what we saw from her in the episode, like making deals with her, and what we saw from Kaysar in the episode, which was nothing. Like we didn't see a conversation between Kaysar and Cody. It's kind of that vibe all week, right? Like Janelle is like really talking game, strategizing, trying to do what she can to make deals and like rally individual votes. And Kaysar it's not that he's not playing, but I think he just kind of feels like it's inevitable that Janelle is going to go. Everybody's telling him that, like Janelle's going, you're staying. And so he hasn't been, I feel like there isn't as much of a fire underneath him to really try to make something happen for himself. Cause I think he's kind of resigned to the fact that he's going to be there without Janelle. So he's thinking a little bit more into the future of like, what do I do post Janelle? You know?
Yeah. I think first off, he's exhausted. He went guns a-blazing for the first couple weeks and it burned him. Like he got destroyed by Nicole. Things didn't go well and he was pushing. And so he's exhausted, but he's also okay if he goes and Janelle stays. Like I think that's deep down inside him. So he's not willing to push. And he also thinks like, I don't need to push because everyone was mad at me for pushing previously.
Yeah. Right.
So he's having those conversations where like he sat down with Dani and, different people of being like, are we good? Cool. He's had some great talks with Tyler. I do think if Kaysar stays, Tyler will sort of reel him in as a secret duo, so he's having those kind of chill conversations, but like, Janelle's the one that has to really go on full attack because she has to try to get the votes. And that's what she's done is just be like, okay, what can I do? How do I get the votes? Like if I can get these three, she's like, I have one. They're like, how many do you have? Yeah. She's like, I've got Bailey's. That's it.
So but yeah, I mean, exhaustion is kind of like a thing right now, not just with Kaysar, but I think Janelle is a bit exhausted too. Like you said, she kind of jokingly, like she feels like, really have to campaign to these people. But I think she kind of does feel that way in a way, like they're just frustrated with the caliber of players that are in this game to a certain extent. And there was even a conversation between Janelle and Ian where she was like, F these people, like, I don't want to do this. And he was like, yeah, I used to care about this game so much. And, like even Ian is feeling it. And Ian hasn't been in danger for 1 second so far this game. But I did love, like, in that conversation, Janelle was like, no, I care about the game.
Here's about the game.
Frustrating, where I'm at. And, like, the way that she doesn't like the way that other people are playing, essentially.
Yeah. And obviously, oh God, there's so much to talk about. Okay. But first off, the problem is Dani. So we all know that Dani is like gunning for Janelle since minute one.
She wants that crown.
But Janelle does not know that. And she hasn't picked up on that. And she has known, Janelle and Dani have known each other for 13 years. Janelle feels like that means she can't go after her. Like, I've known you forever. You're not going to be my target. Whereas it's the opposite for Dani. So Janelle will literally go to Dani and be like, okay, I'm trying to get the votes. Like, Tyler said this to me. Cody said this to me. Like, she's spilling all the information to Dani, which is just great for Dani. And then Dani has been like, like, okay, maybe. And then today she said to Janelle, she was like, if you can get 7 votes, she was like, I'll be your 7th vote. She was like,
Right.
but I don't want to be your 6th. Because if she got 5 votes and this 6th person is going to decide and keep her, right? So Dani is like, I don't want to divide the house. I mean, that's her excuse. I don't want to divide the house by being the 6th vote, which on one hand, good that Dani's not flat out lying to her face and being like, yeah, of course you got my vote, of course. Right. But Janelle just does not realize how much Dani is pushing against this.
Yeah. I mean, that pre-game relationship is really hurting Janelle here because she's giving so much information to one of the people who is like spearheading the campaign to get her out. So it's too bad. But Ben is correct. Like Dani did buy Janelle's dress on eBay. Janelle's dress from the finale, I think, of BB All-Stars. Or was it BB6? I forgot.
I think it was 6. Oh, yeah, I don't remember. The black one.
Dani bought it and then wore it to her own finale. It's like, with something like that, I too would be like, oh, Dani loves me. Like, we're good. Yeah. Like, why would she ever work against me? But it's happening.
It's so weird. Okay, so I know there's stuff we can talk about with the David thing, but just keeping on the Janelle train, she went to Tyler last night for kind of a soft pitch of like, I was never coming for you, Tyler. Like, I want to work with you. Like, I want to take out floaters. I mean, she loves to say, I want to take out floaters. That's how I played in All-Stars. I'm disgusted by floaters. I hate that gameplay. She's not naming names, which is super smart, but she's like, you're not my target. Like, I'm going to take out floaters. Like, I want to work with you. And she threw in, I run your fan page, which is crazy. She does. She runs Tyler's Facebook fan page. What? Like, how are you, HOH, getting out the woman who runs your fan page?
Yes, that's so crazy.
She also was like, I don't want bad Yelp reviews by like taking out, the sweetheart Tyler. Like, she's like making it cute and fun, but being like clear, like, let's work together. And when she left, Tyler by himself, cam talking, saying, I'm an idiot. I cannot believe I'm taking Janelle out. She's the only person that's a bigger target than me. I'm dumb. I'm setting myself up to be the biggest target next. He feels like he has made a mistake.
Do we not remember this from the first All-Stars when Chilltown protected Janelle and kept her in the house? Like, they were going after her every single week. And Will and Boogie were like, specifically Will was like, Janelle's got to stay. Because if she goes, they're going to turn on us. So we got to keep this target in front of us. And Tyler's just now realizing like, oh, I should have done that. Oh, whoops.
Yep. Yeah. He got roped into Dani's gardener strategy, whatever we're calling that, where she planted those seeds and directed him to basically do her dirty work, to do it for her.
He really didn't think about what's best for my game. He did what his alliance had been talking about all season. And so he just was like, okay, now like I'm finally in power. I can do this thing that we've been talking about forever. But he didn't really break it all down enough. And so he's continuing to break it down post nominations, post veto. And he's realizing like, oh, this actually isn't the best thing for my game. Like he, I think definitely should have gone after someone like Memphis instead. But here we are.
Yeah. Okay. So Tyler is great at this game. So if anyone could flip a vote, like he's the one that could subtly be like, oh, Kaysar or whatever, and make people be like, yeah, we got to keep Janelle.
Yeah.
But Dani is so strong that he's got to go up against her. So today, after Janelle had her talk, she went back to Tyler. Now we know Tyler's like really annoyed by this and considering it. So she did a little harder of a pitch, and she was like, lean on Dani a little, because Dani doesn't want to be the 6th, or she'll be the 7th. Like, if she knows that you want it this way, she'd be more willing to do it. Like, kind of like pushing that. And so Dani came to talk to him about something else, and he did a subtle, soft, like, something about Janelle, and Dani was like, what, are you about to lead a charge? She was like, I want her out. I want her out. Like, Dani did shut it down immediately. Like, Tyler would have to do such a hard push, and that just is not his style.
Right. Yeah.
And you'd also be like drawing a line in the sand kind of thing.
For sure. But he's not the only one. Like what I really, my dream scenario to happen is like there are individual people who want Janelle to stay and think it's best for their game if she stays, but they're just not connecting on that, right? Like we've seen Enzo say as well that he wants Janelle to stay. Have we even seen Cody on the feeds saying that like maybe it would be good for Janelle to stay? So I'm like, if these guys would just get together and compare notes and realize like, wait a minute, we're all three on the same page. And it's Nicole and Dani and probably Christmas who really want Janelle out. But like, let's have a conversation here. Like, do we need to do what Nicole and Dani and Christmas want here? That would be so great. I don't know if that's going to happen.
I don't either, but I feel like I'm geared up to watch the feeds all night today because I feel like it could happen if Tyler really is in his head, like this is a mistake. I need to keep Janelle as a target in front of me, a shield. Then all he has to do is plant a subtle seed to Cody because Cody will jump on it. Cody has wanted Kaysar out over Janelle from the beginning. He just then got convinced by Dani. And so earlier today, Cody did bring it up again of like, I'd prefer Janelle stay, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But so they need to get in the same room. They need to get all on the same page, minus Dani and Nicole, and then figure out how they want to move forward. If they blindside them, I don't know.
I know, but they could easily. I mean, all they have to do is tell Christmas like we're voting Kaysar, and she'd be like, okay, great. Like she probably wouldn't even question it. And I think Memphis would go along with it. He likes Janelle. He was trying to throw the veto to her. They could get that vote, and then all of a sudden,
doesn't care what happens in this game. Remember.
As long as it's not him, So, and then I think you could easily get Bailey, and then you get Dave on from that. Like,
Bailey.
I don't think David is ever going to vote for Janelle. But who knows? He is.
He's not. David's not going to. Ian and Nicole and Dani won't. Like those are the four you can't budge. But the rest possibly could. It would just take some real interesting magic. Because Dani's so good and she's done all the seed planting in the world. And also they want to continue working. At least Cody wants to continue working with Dani. I think Tyler could cut Dani. He wouldn't care, but they want to keep working with her. So it's tough.
Yeah. So
but,
I mean tonight. Okay.
Here's the thing, David, even if Janelle goes out tomorrow, let's say they can't flip these votes. I think in my heart of hearts, you guys, Janelle's not leaving. I think there is a twist.
There's something
in store.
There's something because, and Janelle has said this on the feeds. Like we saw from what's happening with Keisha and Nicole Anthony so far, they are not battling back. But Janelle has said, they told me I'm not going home until September. So there's a battle back. Something, right? Like she's convinced that it's a battle back.
She's not going home until September. So in her mind, she's like, oh, that must mean people are going back into sequester for a battle back. But I think what that means is production was like, if you go out too early, we're holding on to you. And it could be America's vote. I mean, remember when America voted Kaysar back in?
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if she sits in a room and whoever's evicted next week, we vote between those two easily. Janelle gets all the votes. Yeah. It could be, one of these safety rooms, just a room that she sits in.
Just watching.
With a power.
Yeah. Right.
They did that in BB Australia.
Yes, which was so great, where she like goes into like a bunker.
She literally just sat in a bunker and then entered back into the game. No, nothing to it.
Genius. I mean, there's gonna be another twist because the safety suite is now expired, right? So it's time to introduce another twist. Like that's how the show works, folks. Yeah. So if the twist is save Janelle, okay.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. I think that, production set us up with, there's going to be so many twists this season. And so all they have to do, they know Janelle is probably going home. So they are prepared and ready for whatever twists they come up with. Because I just don't see production letting Janelle go.
Especially with the response that she has
that the world is giving. Yeah.
The world, like, she's constantly trending on Twitter. And like, not to throw any shade at Big Brother, but like, it's not like a #1 trending Twitter topic. You know, the ratings have fallen like since the heyday, right? Like, we are still obsessed, of course, but like, she is bringing this show back into the spotlight in a lot of ways. So like, yes, hashtag Save Janelle is like constantly trending on Twitter. People are obsessed with her, myself included.
Yeah. Obviously, we don't know, but I feel it in my bones that something will happen.
I trust your bones. I trust your bones, Sarah.
Sturdy bones. I think Janelle will get another opportunity. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with the vote. But more than anything, I think Janelle's not going home tomorrow.
Oh, I hope you're right. Okay, can we talk about the David stuff? It doesn't have much to do with... Yeah, I know. It doesn't have so much to do with like the vote this week or Janelle or Kaysar's game. It more has to do with this, alliance for a cause that has been formed between David, Davon, and Bailey, and also Tyler's game. David is just blowing it all up. Yeah. So
David, the first thing I saw was bad at this game.
I mean, I think it was Janelle who was like, why are we dealing with a newbie on an all-star season? Like, why do I have to talk to this person?
It's bad.
Because we all wanted David to get the second chance. We all thought he showed potential in terms of his ability to read the house, even when he wasn't actively playing the game in BB21.
I think that might be the key. He needs to not be allowed to play the game, and then he can sit back and observe. Yeah. Because when he's playing,
when you're there,
he's not doing it.
It's not good. So I think it started with, how did it start? Because the first thing I saw was the conversation with Bailey, Davon, and David, because David had come to Bailey and she was like, it was about with suspicion about Davon. Like, Davon was trying to flip the vote on me and keep Nicole Anthony. This is what I heard. And Bailey's like, whoa, we got to get in a room and talk about it.
Right. Well, it started with Janelle. Okay. Janelle's pitch to David was excruciating. It was painful. David feels like he can lord some sort of power over Janelle.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you may not, but
no.
She's like saying things like, I'll give you 3 weeks of safety. Like, she's trying to work these deals. And he's just like, what you did to Nicole was wrong. I don't like it. I don't know about this. I can't trust you.
Like, he's talking about?
Yeah, it was nonsense. But somewhere in there, he asked about the vote. And she was like, and he phrased it real shady because he's trying not to give out information. So he phrases something half and shady, and she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. She was like, but I was trying to save Nicole, and I did talk to Davon about it. So it was as simple and harmless as I talked to Davon about the vote.
Yeah.
He goes to Bailey first and is like, because backtrack to last week, Tyler and Cody told David that Davon was considering voting him out, flipping her vote. So he had heard that, didn't think much of it, but now that he heard whatever this vague thing from Janelle, he's making it into a bigger thing. He tells Bailey,
yes.
It blows up. Davon is now in the room. Did you see Davon talking about him in the third person to Bailey if he was no longer in the room? Like, she started talking to David, and then she was like, he won't even, his body language. I was like, he's still in the room.
I'm trying to gain his trust. But it's so amazing. She's talking about him and he's sitting right there, and she's not. She just refuses to look at him because he's just not doing well with this, with communicating effectively with people. He's saying like, she says, why didn't you come to me? Why'd you go to Bailey? And he's like, well, your body language, like, I was trying to talk to you, but I tried to play chess with you, but you didn't say anything. And she's like, I've been trying to talk to you all season. I was trying to talk to you on day one. And he was like, well, I didn't want to, people to think that we were in alliance. And she's like, I was asking how your day was. Like, she is fighting so hard to like make this alliance between the three of them work, because she has been very explicit on the feeds of why she's there. She wants to show that a Black person can win Big Brother. And she thinks that that is going to take them all working together to make that happen. Like, this is the reality of like making something like that happen. Like, we've all got to be lockstep working together to make this happen.
Right.
And she's just getting so frustrated with him because he says he's on board with that, but then his actions are telling a totally different story.
Yeah, he doesn't understand. First off, he doesn't know how to lie, and he doesn't understand how to like give partial truths or like a little bit of information. So that's why he talks in circles, because he just doesn't know what to say. But what really made things escalate was when they were like, why would you think that Davon is trying to flip the vote and get you evicted? He says, because I had heard it before. And they're like, hold up, where did you hear this before?
From who?
He says Cody and Tyler. They get that out of him. And they're like, oh crap, because they're supposed to be working with Cody and Tyler. That means there's some information spilling out left and right. So it just sort of escalated, and David tells Tyler's like, are you kidding me? You just like blew up my game.
Yeah. He was like, I felt like Davon was about to trust me, and now she's never going to trust me again. Great.
Right. But you know what? Tyler and Cody are so good at this game. They squashed it within like a couple minutes. It took one conversation of just being like, oh my God, what? Ha ha ha. Who? No. Ha. What? Yeah. And then everyone's back on track, except Day and David look like information is spilling out incorrectly, and they're the shady ones. So ultimately, David blew up his own game. He had himself so perfectly set up with Tyler, who's great at this game. Right. And he just ruined his little cush.
All you had to do was shut up. Like, that's really it. Like, if you had a final two with Tyler, you kind of don't have to say anything all season.
You don't have to do anything. Like, I feel like if he tried less, he would do a better job. But he's trying so hard at something he didn't. Here's the thing. Okay, like you said, we were supportive of like, give him another shot. He didn't get to play. And he has said that from his heart, he wants this whole like a Black person can win Big Brother. So he wants to go for it. But he never studied for the test. He never researched this thing. He wants to win and represent, but yet he hasn't even watched a full season of Big Brother, much less, I don't know, read a book. There's a few winners who have written some. Like there's so much research and that you could have done that he didn't do. So I no longer need to support that.
I know, and I'm just curious, like what. Now I'm looking forward to like what the good players are going to do about David. You know what I mean? Like, do they keep him in because there's no chance he is going to win this game? Or is he just too big of a liability for them now? And they're like, I wanted to keep you around because like you were going to be a number for me. You would do what I said. Yeah. Again, no one was probably going to vote for you in the end because like you don't even know where you are a lot of the time. But now that he's blowing up everybody's game, I think it's kind of only a matter of, I don't think Davon is going to turn on him, right? Because she's there for the cause. But I think some of these other people are going to be like, this dude is like more trouble than he's worth, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think Day and Bay are going to turn on David necessarily, but like you said, more trouble than he's worth. They're going to let him go when somebody else takes him out. And he's set himself up perfectly to be a forever pawn until it's time for him to go. They can blame anything and everything on him. That's the easiest thing to do in the house is be like, oh, David probably, you know, so he's not in a good place. And I do feel like he'll be out sooner rather than later because it's not safe. It's not like, oh, I can just drag him along. He doesn't know what's going on. Right. No, now he's dangerous. Now he will blow up your game.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like people are just going to stop telling him anything. Like they're going to stop talking game with him because it's just not, they're like, I can't trust you to keep this quiet. So he's probably just going to be existing in the Big Brother house at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. it's really a shame. And again, if he wasn't trying so hard, he might actually be doing okay. But yeah, I mean, last night people were like, David just blew up Tyler and Cody's game. And it's like, no, Tyler and Cody can fix that and they're protected. People are going to believe them.
Because immediately Tyler was like, he was mad. Like, that's not that Tyler like yells and throws things by any means, but like he was very frustrated, vocally frustrated with David. But his mind just immediately clicks into like, how can I spin this? And he's like, so what exactly did you say? Did you say, so, okay, you said you heard it from me. Did you say who I heard it from? Okay, you didn't say that, so I can frame it on Kaysar. You know, like he is immediately thinking about like, where's like the little thing that I can take advantage of in this information that you've done? Like, what did you not say that I can then kind of lie about to save myself a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah, even Tyler last night was in his frustration was like, well, I'm screwed. Well, I didn't even want to go to jury anyway. I'm going home. Okay. It was like dramatic much. But yeah, I think Tyler and Cody are going to be just fine. It's unfortunately, Day was already in an iffy place. Bay is already in an iffy place. David is definitely in an iffy place. And it's just like... Another problem with Dayvon is she is venting to Kevin a lot. And we've seen what happens when you line up with Kevin. It will hurt your game.
It's you just remember what happened to Nicole Anthony. We're not blaming what happened to Nicole Anthony on Janelle. We're blaming that on Kevin. Okay. So
well, I'm also blaming it a lot on Jackson and Jack, but I'm also Kevin. Yeah. BB21 as well.
Yep.
And Kevin.
Kevin's got some cold takes in that house, you know, not so much the hot takes. They are very cold.
Yeah.
So don't listen to him.
No, please don't. Please don't. Well, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Janelle's doing her thing.
We're hoping for a twist or some kind of crazy vote flip tonight.
I will be interested to see if they can come up with something, but I'm more interested to see what production's coming up with tomorrow, because gonna need a safety room to set up there on the side, and maybe an America's Vote. Maybe. She doesn't need to do a comp. We'll take care of that for you.
We'll just vote. How many times has she won an America's Vote? Let's just do one more for old time's sake.
Yes. Old school BB. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys, thank you so much for joining us live. We will be back tomorrow right after the eviction episode. The vibe in the house is that tomorrow's HOH will be endurance. We are due for one. I feel like that's accurate. So not sure if it'll last, you know, if it's going to be on the feeds or how that's going to go down. But we will be here right after the episode to talk about all of it.
Yes, we will. We will see you guys tomorrow then.
Yes, thank you so much for everyone in the chat. If you're watching us later, give us a comment. What the heck you're thinking and all that jazz.
Yes. And hashtag save Janelle.
Save Janelle. All right. Have a good night. Bye.
Okay, bye guys.